Good day, Sail Wars fans. I'm Sandy Palmwater, and I'm coming to you from the Space Coast Model Sailing Club, located in Melbourne, Florida. They usually race on Thursdays and Saturdays, and today is a Saturday, and we're gonna see what a Focus 2 and Focus 3 can do against 3 US 1 meters. And today's entries:
9, 8,
just the Focus
7,
2s in this race.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And look at that, right off the bat, number 11, I'm not doing a turn, Andy, misses the mark at the start line, so he has to go back around and through. So he's going to start way behind the rest of the fleet, or at least he lost about 10 or 11 boat lengths right there. As we catch up with number 12, Richard is in first, followed by number 60. Oh, we have a collision! Richard turned right in front of David and fouls David, so he'll have to do a penalty turn. David is caught in the irons now. Number 67, he has to get himself going. He's got wind in his sails and he takes off. And number 12, now he can put power to his sails, because remember, you cannot gain an advantage from a penalty, so Richard had to wait until David got moving again before he could continue on. And that gives Andy a little breather to catch up, as now he's only about 3 boat lengths behind Richard, so he's right back into the mix of things. So that means that Focus 2 being sailed by Lachlan in this race is out front. Let's see if he can hold it. No, he's already, well, he is closer to the mark. The mark is closer to us than up there where David's sailing. As we can see, David goes over to port tack so he can come down to the mark. But it looks like Andy is putting the pressure on Lachlan, and they're both sailing really close. He's luffing him right there as David tries to work his way back. But then he goes back to starboard to avoid that Focus 2. The Focus 2 and Andy go over to port tack as they head towards that first mark. They're only racing 1 lap here. They go around 2 marks at this end, then there's 2 marks down the other end, and then they head to the finish. And look at this, the Focus 2 is actually winning this race, but then look at that, he goes into the irons. What is going on? Lachlan goes into the irons right there, heading into the first mark, and he's passed by 2 boats. A huge mistake. That Focus 2 was sailing great. He was beating the US 1 meters, and then that mistake right there. Let's see if Lachlan can find the wind. He's tacking back. He's got a little bit of wind in those sails, but he's still fluttering a bit. See, he has not found that wind. Andy is going to miss this mark, so he's going to have to go all the way back around, as you can see, but at least he's moving the boat. He might actually slip in there in front of Lachlan, who's floundering over there. The sails just cannot catch the wind. He finally gets a little bit. He turns. Now he's over on starboard tack. Andy's on starboard tack. He's the leeward boat, so they head down neck and neck, actually. Probably right next to each other, in fact. And I believe going into that next mark, maybe Andy has a little bit of a lead on Lachlan right now. So there are only 4 boats actually in this race. The Focus 3 bowed out, had a problem with its vang. They go around that second mark. Those 2 boats that are in 3rd and 4th are now heading downwind. The wind is not being as kind to them as it is the first 2 boats. The first 2 boats got into a good puff and are just leaving number 3 and 4 behind. As we can see right now, David's out in front, followed by Richard. David's got some good wind. Look how fast his US 1 meter is moving, just powering along there. He'll be heading down to a mark here before heading across the lake to the second mark. We see Richard desperately trying to catch up to him. Let's see who's in 3rd place. They're way back there. The wind just fell off back there. We had to zoom out to catch them. As we see now, Andy finally got some wind and his boat's moving along. But as you can tell, it's not moving near as fast as David's was. And look at this, the Focus 2. It had big problems back there. It just could not catch the wind. Finally, he gets a puff and can get that boat moving. That's just killer on him that he couldn't get the boat moving quicker. Now the Focus 2 does have a pretty heavy ballast, which helps in higher winds, but not so much in the low winds. As you can see, the difference right there between the weights of the boats. The Focus 2 is carrying at least a pound extra, probably just from that heavy ballast, as we see David headed towards the finish line on the other side of the lake. Number 67. And look at this, Richard's gaining on him. Number 12 is right on his heels coming up that bank. He better hope he doesn't get caught over there on Bart's Point. They're getting close to the finish line. As we can see, Fred put his boat in the water. He's not actually in this race. That near boat is not part of this race, so don't pay attention to that boat. Look at the far two boats over there. David with the white sails, Richard with the blue and white sails. There's the finish line right there. They're both on starboard tack, but they're both going to have to go over to port tack. And look at this. I think Richard should have went over to port tack earlier so he would have the advantage. But David has the advantage. He's leeward boat, but he's behind. All Richard has to do is zip in there, but instead he cuts down and look at that. David slides in there for the win. He has won race 3. Incredible. Richard totally misplayed that last 10-20 feet. It was an incredible mistake by Richard. All he had to do is zip across that finish line. Instead, he pulled the boat down. We don't know how much the crazy wind had to do with that, but that certainly was a mistake. As we see, number 11, Andy, takes 3rd place. And number 2, Lachlan, will end up taking 4th place. So congratulations to our top 3. First place was David, second was Richard, and 3rd place, I'm not doing a turn, Andy. Now this is the end of the racing for today, I believe. But we're going to do some modifications on the Focus, so make sure you tune back in for that, because we're going to do some really neat things to make it more like a US 1 meter and a lot faster. And make sure that you, if you're liking these videos, you show us your appreciation by taking the time to subscribe. And if you're a webmaster for one of these mighty fine clubs around the world, please go to our webpage, copy and paste our webpage address onto your club's website, and let all your members know where it's at so they can come and be a part of Sail Wars. If you get to our homepage, it looks like this. It has a playlist of all the different types of boats and all the different types of races. You can click on that to look at all the videos. You can subscribe at that top right column, makes it real easy for you. And of course, check out the Best of Sail Wars. That's where the editors and myself make all the best decisions to show you the best that Sail Wars has to offer, and I love most of those videos, if not all. And of course, we think that everybody should be part of a great RC sailing club like the Northern Maryland Model Yacht Club. And of course, we love the AMYA. So make sure you look at them. Both the club and the AMYA are located on the internet. They both have great websites. That's the Northern Maryland Model Yacht Club and the AMYA.org. So look up both of those. You can search them on Google. This is Sandy Pondwater signing off. I'll see you at the lake.